So I used to think that improving my life required a lot of complex ideas and strategies. And what I found with this idea of a daily review is that is not the case at all. You can do some amazing things in your life just by spending 5 minutes or less doing a daily review, which is simply a series of questions that you ask yourself at the end of the day to kind of review what you did, what you accomplished, and examine that, bring some awareness to what you did throughout your day. And it can totally transform your life when you do this. James Clear, the writer of Atomic Habits, he has this great quote: "You can't improve what you don't track." So if you're wanting to improve your life, then you're not going to be able to improve it if you're not tracking what you're doing in your life. So a daily review, as I have it laid out here, is simply a series of questions that you ask yourself at the end of the day. And to answer these questions, you can write down the answers if you like journaling. I highly recommend that if you aren't doing it already, but you can write them down. You can answer them out loud. You can ask them out loud, then answer them out loud, or you can just ask them in your head and answer them in your head silently. Whatever works best for you. But here are 8 questions that you can ask yourself in your daily review that will help you to improve your life in a simple way. First of all, the first question is, what did I accomplish? And in answering that question, you want to list anything that you did that took 2 minutes or more. Not the real minor stuff, like I took out the trash or whatever, but really somewhat significant things that took 2 minutes or more. And then if it wasn't a great day, if you didn't accomplish much, then figure out the reason why. So here's an example. Maybe you say, you know what, I recorded a video, I did 2 phone calls, I consulted with a couple of clients, and I cleaned out my garage, and that was your day. You listed that. Well, that's great. Then you can move on to the next question. But again, if it wasn't a great day, maybe you say, well, I made 1 phone call and I spent the rest of the day just watching YouTube videos. Well, if that's the case, if it wasn't a great day, then figure out the reason why. What caused you to have an unproductive day? And then eliminate that. Try to overcome that. And the benefit of asking this question and doing this is it shows how productive you were and highlights patterns that maybe need changed in your life or maybe need improved and worked on. So that's the benefit of this first question. The next part of the daily review is, what did I learn? Again, write down or express out loud one thing that you learned today. And as you're expressing that thing, you're going to express what it was, what did you learn, why is it important, why does it matter, and then how are you going to use it? So what, why, and how. And here is an example of how this might work. Let's say you learn the idea of doing something significant every day first, okay? The biggest task that you have, doing that first thing every single day. That's something that you learned today. It's one of my favorite ideas. Now, why do you want to practice this idea of doing something significant first every single day? Something that might take you an hour or 2 as opposed to checking email first? Well, because it builds momentum. When you do something big first, then it builds momentum. And how are you going to use this? Start with it tomorrow. I am going to work on that project that I need to work on, and it's going to be the first thing that I do. So in putting it all together, you could say, today I learned that I need to do the most significant task of my day first every single day. Why? Because it enables me to build momentum. When I do the most significant task first, that is going to give me momentum to do the smaller task with greater ease. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to do this tomorrow by working on that proposal that I need to do, and I'm going to put 2 hours into doing that first thing tomorrow. And what this is going to do, this question, is going to help you to remember and use new ideas. How many times have you read books, watched videos, and you think, oh man, it's an awesome idea, that's a great idea, and then you never use it? Well, as you're consuming those ideas, this question is going to bring it back so you put it into action. You find a way to implement it, and that is going to help it to have an impact in your life. So that's not just sitting in your head or in a notebook, but you're doing something with it. The next idea is, what do I need to improve? So you can ask this question and identify one thought, one feeling, one word, or one action that you need to work on. We always need to work on something, don't we? So an example was, you could say, well, I was really impatient today with my coworker. And what I need to do, I saw the flaw in doing that. I need to slow down and see others' views. I need to see things from their viewpoint, their perspective, and not be so harsh about them. And the benefit of doing this is that it helps you to fix habits that are holding you back. You start seeing things that you do need to improve. Again, maybe you see patterns in your life of things that you're doing wrong. And this is going to help you to fix those, bring awareness to them so that you can change them and have positive results. The next question is, what did I experience today? And to do this one, you just pick one joyful moment that you had. Doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be big. It just has to have a positive impact on your life. And then describe it and feel it again as you're doing this process. For example, my wife's name is Kathy, and I could say, well, today what we did is Kathy and I went for a drive. We drove around southern Indiana, which was beautiful. We saw some beautiful scenery. We got some ice cream. We had some laughs, and we visited a farm and got to pet some animals. And it was just phenomenal. And just get into it and describe it in as great a detail as you possibly can. The words, the sights, the sounds, the smells, everything you can. And the benefit of doing this over and over again is it trains you to notice the good moments in your life, because sometimes we lose track of those, don't we? This will help you to remember them and experience the joy that comes with doing them. The next one is, what did I eat? What? What do I eat? It's a scary one for some. But what you want to do when you're asking this question is just list the foods that you ate. You don't have to count calories and the amounts and all this complicated stuff, just the foods that you ate. So for example, okay, what did I eat today? I had some bacon. I had oatmeal with peanut butter and cream cheese. If you haven't tried that, it's amazing. And I had a shake, a protein shake, a burger at Civilian Burgers. It was awesome. It had pickle, onion, mustard, and it was grilled. I had chips, and I had a salad with tomatoes, cheese, croutons, and French dressing, if that's what you like. I like ranch, so let's just say ranch dressing. But you just mention the foods that you ate. That's all you have to do. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring you food awareness. It's going to help you to see what you're eating and bring awareness to that, because even though we eat every single day, sometimes we do it and don't even think about it again. But this is going to help you to see patterns. And if you're feeling like garbage some days after eating, it's going to bring awareness to maybe what's causing you to feel like garbage. And that is going to result, hopefully, in better habits. Awareness is such a powerful thing. And this whole process is bringing awareness to everything in your life. The next idea is, how much did I move? Okay, so I highly recommend you wear a tracker of some sort. Check your steps or your activity tracker. If you've got a watch, then count your steps on your watch. For example, how much did I move today? Well, I see that I've got 8,400 steps today. And just look at that and maybe express it out loud. Why? Because this helps you to stay aware of your physical activity. Because sometimes, again, our physical activity is just part of life, but we lose track of how bad or how well we're doing. So if we're tracking it, though, we can improve what we're doing. And that's what the whole process is all about. Next one is, what did I receive? So list something that you got unexpectedly. For example, maybe it's a compliment, maybe it's a gift, maybe it's a discount. For example, I met with some friends today, and guess what? One of my friends gave me 3 awesome suits. They literally gave me 3 suits, and I wear suits fairly regularly. And so what did I receive today? I received 3 amazing suits that are going to enable me to look good, feel good, and it's just an act of generosity that I appreciate. And what is this going to do? The benefit of asking this question, it's going to help you to focus on your mind, on your daily wins. And there's always a daily win, but you have to look for them sometimes. They may not be obvious to you, but they're there. So this helps you to do that. And finally, What are tomorrow's tasks? That's the final question you can ask. And then list the top 3 to 5 tasks that you have tomorrow. Get clear about them. And what you could say is things like, I've got to record a video about doing a daily review. I've got to write my newsletter and send it out. I've got to change the oil on the car and take it to get it the tires rotated. Whatever it may be, write down those 3 to 5 tasks that you need to do tomorrow. And what this does, and I've talked about this before in other videos, when you express these tasks in advance of when you need to do them, at least 12 hours, but longer before you have to do them, it gives your brain a head start on tomorrow. It helps your brain process those tasks so it can figure out solutions and overcome problems that you might have in the background, because your brain is an answer finding machine. And so you give it a problem or a task, and in the background, it's going to work to find a solution for achieving that task the best way possible. So the more time you give it to do that, the better answers it's going to give you. So that is the whole idea behind doing a daily review. If you've got additional questions that you ask, perhaps let us know in the comments down below, and let me know how this is working for you, how successful you're being, how it's impacting your life, and how it's improving your life. I'd love to hear about it. All right. So I hope you also have an amazing day.